Then we have districts. Come on.
We will come out and win overall.
Well, very good afternoon and welcome to TIO Stadium for round 13 of the NTFL Men's Premier League season with St Mary's up against Southern Districts. And a very good afternoon to Andrew Hodges and Stu Davis in the commentary box this afternoon. Gentlemen, looking out at the field, you wouldn't believe it, but 48 hours ago, Darwin was on the edge of what could have been a tropical cyclone. We did get 65 mil of rain come over Darwin yesterday, but I must say the ground's come up pretty well given the circumstances, Hodgie.
Yeah, ground staff have done a fantastic job. The ground looks a bit dry in patches, but I think they did some work on it early in the week knowing that the rain was coming, and they've done an outstanding job, which I reckon we're going to see a pretty quick game today, Stu. No genuine rucks out there in the ground for both sides and plenty of young talent, but as much ex-AFL talent running around as well, which is pretty exciting. This should be a cracker of a game.
Yeah, it should be. I'm really looking forward to it, and really a big round of matches for us, isn't it? You know, this is second versus third, and we've got first versus fourth later on tonight, which could really have a say in shaping the top five. So really important games, and Saints are a game and a half in front of Districts now, so win this one and they lock up that top three, you would think.
Of course, Saints had a big win up against Wanderers, the first game back, the Friday night footy last week since Christmas. Southern Districts last week, well, they played a pretty lacklustre 3 quarters and had a chance to level the game with a goal after the siren. Wasn't able to do so. Shannon Rusker, the coach, gave him a big, heavy spray at 3-quarter time. So it'll be interesting this afternoon to see if they can come out the blocks a little bit quicker. I think they might be able to challenge St Mary's, Hodgie.
Yeah, and they've gone with a hell of a lot of experience in the midfield here with Canna, Damien Williams in the ruck, Staunton and Barlow. So very impressive starting 4 in the middle for Southern Districts.
Yeah, and some big outs for both sides, of course. No Paredes and no Ryan Smith, and Horbury and Corbett out for Districts. We're underway. Damien Williams high up over the top, gets it down to Michael Barlow, who hand passes off to Staunton, kicks high towards half forward. Punch from behind. It's Rusker in there who's tackled strongly, and I think the umpires called that a sling tackle, and he'll take the free kick.
Very aggressive tackle from young Leonard Ferreira. Sorry, Devon's his older brother, but very aggressive.
Yeah. Ball goes deep into the forward pocket over the top of the pack and bounces out of bounds about 20 around from the right-hand behind post. Southern Districts kicking towards the airport end in this first quarter.
Scrappy start, but Barlow very, very impressive at that first stoppage. Stu, get his hands on the footy nice and early.
Yeah, lots of experience there. Williams works his way to the front but doesn't get his hand to it. Staunton tries to break through the pack, gets a good hand pass out. Pemberton on the left foot, kicks towards the goal, and cleverly kept in play there by Barnett, but only for a short time, and it's out of bounds again on the left, in the left forward pocket this time.
We're only a minute into the game, boys, but you can definitely see the intent from Southern Districts. They want to be first at the footy. They're getting first hands on. St Mary's a bit reactive early in the piece. They want to set it down pretty quickly.
Bit of wrestling in the ruck there. Nick Yaron takes possession, is tackled straight away. Umpire says play on. Ball spills out now, and Districts another chance. It's Barlow again deep in the pocket on the left foot, kicks towards goal, but that's out of bounds on the full on the narrow side. Matty, we noticed last week with Barlow, he was pretty reluctant to kick all day, looking to hand pass off, but yeah, a valuable player for them, that's for sure.
Yeah, Southern Districts had a pretty good, powerful forward line last week. It's just that none of them really had that confidence, or when they'd get in the forward line, they just weren't able to get a hold of it.
So the kick in from the boundary goes, it's Anthony Long gets a quick hand pass to Leroy Larson, kicks forward, tapped forward by Armat over the back. Districts with the opportunity, a strong tackle there, and that's wrapped up. No chance to get rid of that one, and we'll have a ball up out towards the wing on the outer side in front of the TIO Stadium scoreboard.
I've already mentioned it, boys, but Districts definitely started a little bit more of intensity.
So box into the side this week for Saints. Took that ball from the hit out, but was bundled over the boundary line, and ball's hugging the boundary line, and another boundary throw in. It's about 4 already in the first couple of minutes.
You can see there again, St Mary's just not getting an opportunity to get clear disposal in space. District's pressure's been outstanding early on.
So Williams too strong for Armat in the ruck there. Rusker gets a quick kick forward. Ball bounces towards half forward. Ferreira there takes position, hand passes back to Anthony Long. He hand passes back across here to Daly it was. And then Districts turned it over with a kick on goal. Didn't see who that was. Hodgie?
Just really good pressure. I think that was Jaden Clark had that shot on goal, but the pressure from the district's forwards, Josiah Farrer, putting pressure on St Mary's, not allowing for a clean disposal.
Tom Davies brings it in for Saints towards the grandstand side, but reaching up there was Willie Farrer, got his hand to the ball and tapped it out of bounds.
Saints just don't seem organised within the first couple of minutes of the game as well. They were very lucky to get away with not actually conceding a goal there. They had possession of the ball, but I think it was Jaden Clark that had that shot on goal there before Hodgie, and Saints very lucky to actually get away with that.
Boundary throwing falls a bit short. Damien Williams again, he's dominating the ruck contest at this stage. Of course, he's up against Braxton Matt, a young fella, and
big, strong body. Just pushing Braxton down around the moment. And Matty just made the comment about St Mary's don't look organised. I don't credit the districts because they haven't allowed them to get organised. They're pressure. They're playing real scrappy footy and making sure they get it forward every opportunity.
It's a short throw, and again, the umpire's going to. He's in fact picked out a free kick here, and it's going to the ruckman Matt for holding in the ruck contest. So he drives down towards the wing on this grandstand side. Sean Edwards there takes a contested overhead mark in front of Holman and now picks up and plays on straight away. Drives towards half forward. Shannon Rioli there against 4 districts opponents. A punch comes out and now Lionel Ogden down there went to his knees before he was tackled. Play on's the call. Ball stuck underneath, comes out now. Waring with a kick off the outside of the foot finds Pemberton, and Pemberton plays on now, looks to hand pass inside to Staunton. Staunton on the left foot going straight down the ground, and Tom Davies gets his toe to that one, tapes it, pokes it out in front. Hand pass over the top from Barlow, didn't find a teammate, and Anthony Long was first back there and was tackled high as he bent over to pick up the ball.
Smart, he just turned his body to make sure he drew that free kick. Very smart, experienced player.
He kicks out to this side, and Saints coming out of this fence through Daly to Baxter, and Baxter chips back into the corridor to Long. His bullet pass finds Shannon Rioli just forward of half back towards the grandstand side. So Rioli's first touch for the game, drives it long over the wing. Almost a mark taken there. Morris Rioli in there with some clever work, takes possession. He's tackled, gets a hand pass out now. It's Box who's first to the ball, fumbles that one, avoids a couple of tackles, and now takes it on himself. Has a bounce, but he's surrounded by districts players, taps the ball forward now, and Morris Rioli comes in to help out in front of Brody Lake, and the ball's forced out of bounds.
Probably ended up positive for St Mary's in the end, but you could just see the inexperience, Rioli and Box there probably just needed to drive the ball forward, open forward line. Then they had one-on-ones, they just messed around with it, got to get it in a bit quicker than that.
Throw it again, Armat reaches over the top. It's districts now with the opportunity. It comes in the hands of Garlett, kicks inside, but boundary umpire said he'd stepped over the boundary line before he got the kick in. So another boundary throw in there.
So what Morris Rioli lacks in experience, though, he's certainly making up for with effort right now, though.
So ball in tight there. And it's O'Brien who gets a hand pass inside to Josiah Farrer, to Barlow, back to Farrer. Farrer drives long down the corridor to a one-on-one to his brother, but ball runs past him there, and some good tidy-up work by Saints. Davies gets the kick out and finds Box inside the centre square. He looks inside to his captain, Shannon Rioli, at the centre circles, and he drives it wide to the outer side where Joseph Salmon's got plenty of space. Ball's out in front of him now. He gathers and drives down towards half forward. And there finds Payne on a long lead just outside the forward 50, right near the boundary line in front of the Wanderers club. He chips inside, but chopped off there, and Dean Staunton made the initial intercept and then received a hand pass on the backup, but his kick didn't find his teammate, and Shannon Rioli a chance to put Saints forward again, and that's a good pass inside 50, and that's hit up Rhett Jordan for Saints.
Definite change in the way St Mary's are going about it in the last couple of minutes. Obviously, they're putting a bit more pressure on, and they're maintaining possession of the ball a lot better than they did in the first opening minutes, and it's created this opportunity shot on goal.
So Jordan's kick towards goal, going right to the goal line, just drifting across, off hands and out of bounds in the left forward pocket. It's almost as if Saints took a little while to settle, isn't it, Hodgie? They played the Friday night game last week. It was a bit of a scrappy game. Certainly the Districts Buffalo's game was a lot better quality, and perhaps just stepping up to the mark a bit early in the quarter.
Extra day this week too, in between games. So
kick comes out Ferreira there. Ball goes past him. Brody Lake on the ground picks up now. He's tackled by a couple of Saints players, and it spills out. Hodges there gets a hand pass out to Rioli, who tries to take them on, but is tackled. Gets a hand pass. Box comes in. Hand passes to Armat, who kicks high towards full forward. Players fly, but on the ground, Shannon Rioli tries to hand pass forward. His hand pass was half smothered. It's Larson in there over the ball, trying to claim a free kick for being held, but Ogden for District's hand passes off to Bowden, who kicked on the left when he probably should have kicked on the right and kicked it out on the full.
I'm pretty sure Michael Bowden's got 2 left feet. Stewie, I reckon he's got the world record for out of bounds on the full in his career. Fantastic play for Southern Districts over a long time.
So Armat with the free kick brings it in. Keegan Dingo was the first there, spilled it off his chest, and now the ball's on the ground again. A little toe poke by Shannon Rioli out towards Salmon. He's working hard on the ground, gets a good hand pass to Box, and Box drives it in towards full forward again. Leroy Larson on the end of this, and the umpire says he was being held, and Matty Wilkinson there wanted to be a bit careful. Tried to take the advantage, I think, but not the ideal situation to do so.
Know your capabilities. Let Leroy, probably the best set shot in the competition is Leroy Larson. Let him go back and drill this, but very good call, Stewie, in that lead up to that passage of play. We heard a lot of young talent in there. Ferreira, Lake for Southern Districts, young Morris, Rioli, some really, really good young players. Box, Salmon. It's pretty exciting for Territory footy to see those guys out there making an impact today.
So Larson from about 25 out directly in front, no problem at all there, and the first goal of the game is on the board. So Districts had all the running early, but really Saints have had it parked in their forward line for the last 5 minutes or so.
And Hodgie, you touched on a lot of those young players before, really complemented by Shannon Rioli as well. We saw in that first passage of play where the ball went inside their 50 and about 6 players went up. He stayed down on the ground ready to get the crumbs for it, and then that cute little toe poke as it came back outside the 50 before, which then ended up setting them up for goal as well. And even as they were lining up for goal, Shannon Rioli still directing traffic. So while Saints do have a lot of young players on paper today, the experience of their captain Shannon Rioli really kind of helping guide that ship for them.
Imperative that he steps up today and make sure they get the win.
So it's Williams and Armat again. This time Armat gets his hand to the ball, but Williams is the first there to recover. Hand passes to O'Brien. Ball comes out now, and District's a chance to go forward. O'Brien back in there again, can't take the ball cleanly, taps it out now, and sweeping hand pass out here by Clark in front of Michael Barlow, but some good work by Rhett Jordan there, gets a hand pass up to the young fella in Riley Miller, but missed the fist when he hand passed, I think, and he's been caught holding the ball.
He could have been given the benefit of the doubt there. I think it was a realistic attempt in a tackle, probably let that play go there.
So kick comes in from Pierce Little towards full forward. Over the back, Willie Farris just waiting for it. Falls in his lap, but under a little bit of pressure, tried to dribble it through and missed to the right-hand side.
Interesting from that stoppage, guys. You saw the ball came out towards us, the commentary side here. The Districts players really spread out on attack, and there was probably some Saints player midfielders that just were sat back in the middle and allowed their defenders to get outnumbered. They need to work harder than that.
So Nick Yarran with the kick in. Drove it towards half-back. Anthony Long doing some work across half-back for Saints so far in the quarter. Kicks wide. Ogden's the first there. Takes a mark on the stretch just inside the boundary line. And he'll have to go back over the mark. And kicks in towards the corridor now, about 20 out. Mark couldn't be taken by Barnett. But it's a bit of a scramble in there at the moment. Staunton gets a hand to it. Gets a hand pass out now. It's a bit of volleyball. Barnett again with a kick, but that was smothered. Barlow now, quick hands, but misses the target. Brody Lake in there, takes the ball cleanly, but he's tackled straight away. And it's pretty willing in there, Hodgie.
Yeah, I don't know about that free kick. I reckon he initiated the head. He drove in with his head. St Mary's player standing over the ball. Interesting decision, but nonetheless, Districts get an opportunity to go inside 50.
So Schofield, looks like Pierce Little's found some space, but drops the mark off his chest. And the initial tackle there, the umpire said, was over the shoulder. And it's O'Brien that'll take the free kick. for Southern Districts and opportunity to put their first goal on the board.
Well, they've had plenty of opportunities inside 50, haven't they, Stu? They just haven't been able to capitalise. We've seen a couple of Hines, and O'Brien had a shot after the siren last week to draw the game and missed it. Yeah. Can he make up for it here and get him a goal?
Wouldn't back him from here on that evidence, Hodgie.
Similar to last week,
He's on the other side, though. He was over this side on the siren last week.
No wind.
Kicks on its way, and he's missed to the right. Looks like it's going to miss everything, and is out of bounds on the full. He's not happy with himself, understandably.
Very, very experienced player from the waffle.
So Parry tried to go short to Davies, but chipping across was Garlett, speaking of experienced players, and got his fist to the ball out of bounds. So District's another opportunity with the ball camped in their forward line. Boundary throw in now. Armac gets his hand to this one. But Yaron's first on the ground, gets a hand pass, but Garlett again hand passes across towards Barlow, who was under plenty of pressure. Ball spills out back in towards the corridor. O'Brien to Garlett. Josiah Farah with a hook round the corner on the left foot, but misses to the near side. Another behind to Southern Districts.
Jeffy Garlett around the ball a lot more today. We've seen he's had a quiet first couple of weeks, but normally hovers around the wing, but getting into that contest a bit more today.
And even though those experienced AFL players come up, it does take them a bit of time to adjust to NTFL footy at times.
Yeah.
So the ball's forced out of bounds here again between wing and half forward for Southern Districts.
Interesting tactic for St Mary's. Looks like both Edwards and Payne playing forward as key forwards, but also going in through the midfield and having to, when the ball goes forward, having to be that tall, trying to create a contest for St Mary's.
So Williams got rid of Armat, but Sean Edwards it was who picked up the ball, drove Saints forward. Shannon Rioli couldn't take the mark in the contest. Ball comes to ground. Some good work there by Leroy Larson, who was clean, and chips out on the left foot to Sean Edwards on the wing, right in front of the cameras here on the grandstand side. Edwards slows it down now. In fact, looked to chip backwards, but Anthony Long was covered up. Jake Long in the end got a kick, but that's too close to the boundary line and drifts over. So Saints had the free kick, but they were closed off pretty well on their options.
Well, the reluctance to go long down the line is Districts did have an extra player down the ground there, and Saints didn't have any tools. So Edwards looking for something short inside and couldn't find it.
So Bowden found Rusker, and Rusker switches straight across the ground. And there's a couple of Saints players with the opportunity here, but some good work down there by Schofield. Drives the ball in, and Dean Staunton this time chips wide looking for Matty Cannard, but it's gone over his head and out of bounds. Ricky Nolan would have hated that one. Hodgie, it's had the ball in the corridor and then chipped directly sideways for no apparent reason.
Well, I think it's probably the leadership of Matty Cannard. Hasn't played for a couple of years, but obviously the players respect him, want to try and get the ball in his hands, but it's got to be a team game. Get it inside 50, especially when you've got Will Farrer up there. You need to get into him.
Williams in front. Looks like he'll be the recipient of the free kick this time in the ruck contest. And sporting the top-notch style. You haven't gone for that one yourself yet, Hodgie?
No, we've got nothing there to top-knot, so...
It's called to play on now and got his kick away just in time, and Bowden inside the centre square goes further out to the outer side, goes over the head of Willie Farrer. Ogden running onto this one. Busted the tackle, but couldn't take the ball. Nick Yaron picks up, kicks wide, but that's gone over the fence, in fact, out on the full at half forward for Southern Districts.
And a few out on the full today.
Yeah, they've hugged the boundary line a fair bit. It'll be Jeffy Garlett to bring it back in for Districts.
It's always more dangerous going down the middle, but there's certainly, in terms of the condition of the ground, there doesn't seem to be any reason to. It's not overly waterlogged after yesterday's rain, though.
Jake Long with a kick out of defence for Saints, and the mark's taken there by Quinn at half-back. He drives along the wing, looking for Salmon. Over the top was Schofield, punched the ball away and out of bounds again.
You can definitely see what Saints are trying to do here. They're trying to maintain possession of the ball, hit their teammates on the chest, but the kicks just at the moment have been behind their teammates, made it really difficult. At some point it's got to click for them. It's definitely a good ploy in these conditions.
So in fact that was a free kick there to Salmon. He chipped into Anthony Long, who's getting plenty of the ball at half back for Saints.
You know, we've seen a record amount of free kicks early in this game.
And Long goes back out towards the wing. Strong mark taken there by Payne out on the wing. And slows the play down now and drives it long down the line. Dingo in there, but it's gone over his head. Joseph Salmon found the ball in his hands at the back, kicks Long towards the goal. Jacob Long running onto it. Oh, beats all players and hits the goalpost for a minor score. Playing on quickly there was Jaden Watts in what I believe is his first senior game, Hodgie.
Absolutely is, yep. Former Palmerston Magpie Junior and nephew of Jared Brennan, I believe.
So ball worked its way outside defensive 50 for Southern Districts and then was forced over the boundary line. So we're 18 and a half minutes into the first quarter, only one goal on the board. Won't be a long one, I don't think. Edwards doing the ruck work for Saints this time, gets it down in front. And Daly there was tackled and Districts a chance to come forward again. Strong contest on the ground. Nick Yaron did some really good work in there under plenty of pressure, got his hand pass out. But Farah came up with it to Kennard. Hand pass back inside to Barnett, who put his hand out with the don't argue. Wilkinson doesn't like it, but the free kick's been paid, so just go back and take your free kick, son.
Great advice, Stewie.
Wilkinson looking for Larson. He's got plenty of opposition around him. Brady Lake with the clean-up work. Clean hands was good, but Box cutting across the opportunity for St Mary's. Couldn't take the ball, but he looks like he's into the back of his opponent there, not paid. And eventually it'll be a ball up just about right in the centre of the ground.
Game hasn't got to any great heights yet, has it, guys? But the pressure around these contests has been pretty good. And there's another free kick, another rucking infringement we've seen. We've obviously got no genuine ruckman on the field. There's going to be some scrappiness in that ruck situation. Maybe. I
think Innes was just up a bit early then and blocked the path of Sean Edwards trying to jump at the ball.
I never was a good umpire, Stewie.
Didn't have to be, Hodgie.
Better coach.
So Edwards plays on now, but his kick's going to be chopped off by Lionel Ogden at half-back. And he plays on straight away, kicks inside looking for Kennard, who takes the ball overhead pretty well in front of young Miller. So Kennard now kicks towards half-forward. Barnett in front, strongly punched away by Davies. Reaching in there was Daly, but Districts with the opportunity. Hand pass comes forward. Rusker there under plenty of pressure from Nick Yaron, and the ball's forced out of bounds again.
Plenty of talent, young talent running around. We talked about just there, but Nicky Yaron, a couple of contests early in this game. He's so small, but he's massive heart. He doesn't give up and just puts his body on the line.
Boundary thrown here. Sean Edwards reaches over the top, gets the hit, but another rucking infringement free kick. And this time it's Innes.
I just think we need to let it go.
Now we've got 50.
Yeah.
Obviously someone disagreed, and we'll have a 50-metre penalty, which will bring him within scoring range. So a bit silly, really, from the Saints players. I'm not going to change the umpire's decision.
There's obviously been a direction to stamp down or crack down on the ruck contest, the infringements.
So it's Innes with the opportunity after the siren to put Districts in front. He's kicking from about 30. Left foot kicks on the way now. Looks like it's swinging back, and it's through for a goal. So Districts took right until after the siren to get their first goal on the board, but it's enough to put them in front at quarter time.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
So we can feel whatever you feel and get real together. No one can stop. No one can stop.
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona?
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience.
Dedicated sports zones.
Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice,
come in and see it.
Still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport concept store.
Now open at Casuarina Square.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more!
Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium and a scrappy quarter of footy where it's St Mary's 1-1-7 Southern Districts. A goal on the siren, and we almost saw that last week to level the match. They are 1-3-9. Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Stu Davis with you this afternoon. And gentlemen, probably the big talking point out of that quarter, I should say, a lot of ruck infringements, Hodgie.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Obviously, they're there. There's probably been a bit of a discussion with the umpires this week to probably clamp down on it, but you know, two non-genuine rucks, we're going to see that. It's going to be scrappy all day, but obviously, yeah, scrappy quarter, but you wouldn't imagine the two coaches would be too disappointed, Stu, would they? Both teams sort of tried to execute their game plan. Districts seem to want to get the ball long and further down the ground, and Saints just want to maintain possession, probably hit up those shorts as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, you would think that, well, the game obviously hasn't got away from either side, so you'd think that if they just tidy up the possession a bit and get their hands on the ball inside 50, that the opportunities to score will come. So we're underway again with Armat and Williams doing contest. Armat this time reaches over the top, gets the hit out, but it's Districts first to the ball. Jaden Clark drives them forward. Ferreira in front there, interfered with from behind by Pierce Little. And we'll take the free kick. Plays on, hand passes out wide, but pretty hot 50-metre penalty there. I don't know if that was against Little or
I don't know, but yeah, a bit stiff, but good tactic from Ferreira playing in front in that contest.
plays on to the grandstand side this time to Jake Long. He drives the ball in forward looking for Wilkinson. It's over his head, and a strong mark taken overhead by Wairung for Districts, who brings them back grandstand side, back to Jake Long, who just kicked it to him.
I was about to give Wairung a rap and said Rappy's a pretty good player, but that's a poor kick, isn't it, Stu?
So Long just chips it in, goes over the back of the pack and rolls out of bounds right next to the behind post.
Be a win for St Mary's in this situation here. They've got some dangerous players at ground level with the two Riolis, the nephew and uncle in Shannon and young Morris.
Leroy Larson doing the ruck work, but Williams for Districts got the hit out. Larson got his hand to it. Salmon gets a kick towards goal off one step. Sean Edwards in front almost took the mark, but was worried out of it. And Barlow for Districts thought he'd kept it in, but the boundary umpire disagreed. And so we'll have another boundary throw in.
We haven't got champion data, guys, but I reckon Barlow's on about 10 handballs in one kick, and that one kick went out of bounds on the full.
So throw in now. Williams with the body work against Larson. Quick kick forward for Saints. Shannon Rioli under plenty of pressure there, and the ball's forced through for a boundary, for a minor score, sorry.
Good player is Schofield.
Schofield, yeah, runs out from the goal square, kicks wide, but Saints have got some numbers there. Morris Rioli picks up hand passes inside. Kick comes across towards the top of the goal square. Lurking at the behind is Leroy Larson. Bit of a misunderstanding with Wilkinson, who took it eventually. Hand passed up to Payne, and Payne with the left foot wasn't the best looking off the boot, but was straight and maintained its line for the first goal of the quarter, and Saints second for the match.
Yeah, really good contest from St Mary's out on that far side. They didn't allow Districts to clear the footy. Morris Rioli, I think it was Joseph Salmon, and Morris Rioli ended up with the ball and handballed to a player running past him. I reckon Coach Anthony Valijo would be wanting Morris to kick the ball rather than handball, but it's worked out okay for him. Obviously, Wilkinson here, really good pickup and handball to Payne, who's got a lot of experience in NEFL and AFL experience, and he's going to have to play a big part for St Mary's today. He's into the midfield again for this contest, so he's going to have a very busy day, and they're going to need him to have a really big impact to win this game.
And Wilkinson in for his first game in the seniors for the year, I would think, out of the Div 1.
Great club person, yeah.
Yeah. Williams aggressive again in the ruck, gets it down to Barlow, but the ball's bouncing around in there. Some quick hands by Armat to Long, who drives the ball forward. Wilkinson caught behind this time, but managed to get a spoil to it. Rioli picks up and hand passes to Edwards, who hooks around the corner, and it's straight through the middle for 2 goals in a minute for St Mary's.
The experienced players for Saints are finishing this, but it's the young guys through the midfield with young Long was involved then. Braxton Armat in the ruck. Obviously, we talked about that physicality from Williams, but he hasn't taken a backward step, the young fella. He just keeps bashing in, and obviously up forward, they've Shannon Rioli at ground level, a nice little pickup. Knew he had Sean Edwards on inside, and plenty of VFL, AFL experience. Sean Edwards, junior St Mary's player, good finish.
And Braxton Armat followed up and got a really good hand pass in under pressure to allow his teammate some space to get out and drive him forward again. So a good start to the quarter by St Mary's. Ball goes up, Armat up high early, but no one really gets their hand to the ball. Trapped in underneath, but it's a high tackle, and it'll be taken there by Jordan for St Mary's. Drives Long straight down the middle looking for Wilkinson. Ball goes through his hands under some pressure. Rioli with a hand pass to Salmon, running into the goal square, and another goal to St Mary's. They're on fire early in this second quarter.
We saw plenty of inside 50s down this end of the ground at Districts last quarter. They didn't capitalise, but the difference to St Mary's this quarter is just they're just first at the footy, aren't they?
And they're going long and direct, straight down the middle.
So we talked about at quarter time that they were looking for those shorter kicks, but now that tactic has changed, and it's paying dividends for them, especially when they've got the talent they've got forward. Obviously, Coach Shannon Rusker, very, very experienced. Be interesting to see what he does in these next couple of stoppages to stop the bleeding.
So no change in the ruckman, but some change in personnel in around the centre square. Cannard's in there for Districts and Staunton. But, it's been all one-way traffic out of the middle so far this quarter. Williams this time gets his hand to the ball, but can't find a teammate. Cannard on the ground, hand passes. Anthony Long takes the ball, rocket hand pass to Morris Rioli, but he hand passes to the favour of Rusker for Districts. He hand passes out the back to Bowden, who chips along the ground where Staunton Hand passes forward to Josiah Farah. He drives long towards half forward. That's drifting wide and will go out of bounds on the full.
Fair bit of breeze pushed that out as well. It's something that we didn't think would play a big factor today. I mean, given that the weather's a lot clearer than it was yesterday.
It's funny you say that, Matty, because the flags on the other side of the ground suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's swirling around here today, obviously making it really difficult at ground level.
I know Josiah's one of your favourite players, Matty, but I think you're making excuses for him.
He's got to be one of the favourites for the Nichols, doesn't he? He's been in outstanding form.
Been in amazing form. You know, a player that had played across half-back a lot, really, and he's just dominated the midfield this year.
Super nice guy off the field as well.
Yep. Williams in front, hooks that one over his shoulder. But Farah on the ground. Ball spills out now. Payne in there, lays the tackle. It's just bouncing around. Brody Lake, clean hands every time he gets near the ball. Hand passes out to Williams. He drives across the ground now, and Keegan Dingo takes a mark. Haven't called his name much so far, Hodgie.
No.
Chips out wide, and running onto the ball there was Schofield. He was tackled, but got his hand pass forward. Barnett for Districts drives towards goal. Looks pretty good, and there's an answering goal that they really needed after Saints opened the quarter with the first three.
That was really set up by probably Brody Lake at the contest right in front of us here. The ball bobbled around. No one really wanted to take possession of it with any intent. He just comes steaming through, clean hands, bang, handball out, and Damien Williams changed lanes, went out the other side of the ground. They hadn't done much of that yet, and obviously made the difference straight away. Caught Saints on the hop. Nicky Yaron had to come off his man here, and just smart handball from O'Brien, and really, really good finish from Barnett. So he's a very good player. Saw a lot of him before Christmas, didn't we, boys? I think he missed a few games, but he's back, and he's definitely what Districts need.
Yeah, got an injury around, was out for around 8 to 11. The details of the injury, but yeah, he's back with some force now.
So we're underway again. Innes in the ruck now for Districts. Gets his hands to the ball this time. On the ground there was Jordan. Ball eventually came out. Josiah Farah tried to scoop it out, but Quinn's the first to the ball now. Picks up, gets a hand pass inside. Miller there is tackled as he tried to hand pass. Busting through was Anthony Long, but ball slipped out of his hand, and he's been caught for incorrect disposal out there. Was making the play, was unlucky making the play, but just couldn't control the ball when he was tackled. Ball comes deep towards centre half forward. Punch from behind by Davies falls in the hands there of Miller again. But Holman for Districts butters up hand passes to space, and now the opportunity for Liam Daly for St Mary's, but couldn't control the ball before it went out of bounds. Between wing and half forward for Southern Districts on the grandstand side.
Good player is Liam Daly. Nothing pretty about him, but he's just a bit of a goer, isn't he, Stu? He just puts his head over the footy and bashes the ball forward.
Yeah, one of those country players from Victoria that'll come up. So Payne hooks around the corner now towards the wing. Holman in front, but the ball bounces past him. Bowden and Larson do battle, but umpire says there was a hold there, and it'll be Bowden that gets the free kick. Plays on now, back inside the corridor. He's got some players in space. Barlow takes the mark, chips with the foot out wide to Wairung, running from the defence. Wilkinson runs him down, gets him late, and probably a bit unlucky. Got his kick away just before he tackled him, and it was a free kick down the field. Staunton chips it in, looking for Michael Barlow. Couldn't mark in the contest. Got the hand pass out to O'Brien, snap towards goal, and fortunately falls in the hands of Garlett. Hand passes over the top. And Jaden Clark, I think, got his foot to the ball just before he was bundled over the line himself. And 2 in a row for Districts now to settle things down for them.
They fought back really well and probably took some risks there they didn't need to. You would have backed Jeffy Garlett from that pocket. Would you, Stu, being a Melbourne supporter, would he have kicked that?
When he was playing for Melbourne, he probably would have, but before that, I'm not so sure. But yeah, and you know, Garlett, I've watched him a couple of weeks now, and he just looks like he's lacking a bit of confidence, and maybe that's a result of that he wanted a hand pass off rather than go back and take the responsibility himself. But you know, definitely will be an important player for Districts as the season rolls on towards finals.
Absolutely.
Matt up over the top, but again it's Districts at ground level. Hand pass came out to Barlow, kicks forward on the left foot towards centre half forward. Ball comes over the back. Nick Aaron's there again, got tackled, but Dean Staunton for Districts picks up. Hand passes inside to Josiah Farah, and another goal to Districts. They've got 3 in a row now, so The pendulum swings, and they've regained the lead they had at quarter time.
It's almost like the two coaches and captains have got together and said, look, you have 5 minutes going your way, and then we'll change over and we'll go and score the other way. Polar opposites to the first couple of minutes. Obviously, District's hitting the ball with a bit more intent now. Barlow really started to impose himself in the contest, not just around the midfield, but going forward as well. And Josiah Farrow's been a massive one for them as well. So just Nicky Yarran there, probably just no awareness of what was around him. He just needed to kick the ball out to grass and give his teammates a chance. But obviously, good tackle from behind and good finish.
So 1 goal each in the first quarter and 3 each in the first 10 minutes of this quarter. Running off half-back was Ogden, kept the ball in front of him. Morris Rioli toe-poked it forward. Looks like he's going to be first to it again, but runs past it. Box picks up one-handed. Chips back inside. It's gone over the head of his teammate in Miller there. He's going to be first back to it, but under plenty of pressure. Broke that tackle, did pretty well. Butters up, kicks long now towards half-forward. Some good work from the young fella Miller there. Ball bounces out towards the boundary line. It's Salmon first there, but couldn't control it and keep it in play.
How good was Miller to hold his feet there when he had other man charging at him for that tackle?
I think the difference in this midfield too, Braxton Armatt's getting his hands on the footy, but I think there's a bit of a disconnect to where he's hitting it and his midfielders, they're not in the right spot at the right time.
Wilkinson doing the ruck work this time, but we've got a free kick again. And it may be that he wasn't the nominated ruckman, I don't know, but boundary throw-in was long. Anyway, Innes switches the ball to the outer side where Ogden takes the mark, plays on straight away, but he was under a bit of pressure and kicked the ball along the ground. James Box back there for Saints takes the ball cleanly. He's under some pressure again now. Eventually got the hand pass away as he was slung. Ogden's there on the ground, and the young fella for Districts, Watts, comes in to help. Hand pass comes across, comes back to Watts from Ogden. Watts kicks inside 50, and Barnett on the end of that spilt the mark off his chest, I think, and Saints another opportunity to clear, but Districts have got plenty of numbers around it, but no one can take the ball cleanly. It's Wilkinson right back there in defence. It was pretty hot tackle and caught holding the ball.
Last couple of minutes, Pierce Little's been very, very physical, putting his body on the line and laying some really big tackles, which is probably some of the St Mary's players looking over their shoulder to see where he is at some times of the game. So they need to straighten up here, Saints, and get their hands on the footy. But Districts have really turned it around and a really good job, haven't they?
So Pierce Little will take the set shot as a result of that free kick. And he'll kick from about 35 out on a slight angle towards the outer side. Chips at the kick. Looks like the distance won't be a problem, but it's swinging across the face of goal. And a minor score for Southern Districts. Nick Yarran for St Mary's wastes no time and kicks long to the outer side. Jacob Logg went up early, but over his head, doing battle there with O'Brien, pushed him off the ball. Was pretty good work by the young fella, but couldn't keep it in before it went out of bounds on the outer side. So another boundary throw in between wing and half forward on the outer side for Southern Districts. And Leroy Larson and Damien Williams doing the ruck work. Williams too strong on this occasion, but again, a free kick in the rucking contest, and it'll go Larson's way.
I don't think we've had a ruck contest without around the ground without a rucking infringement.
We find it comical. I'm sure the coaches aren't as impressed.
No.
So we're having a chuckle about that, but Larson's obviously pretty sore.
He is,
got a whack in the mouth by the looks of things, and Sean Edwards has taken the free kick on his behalf. It's out wide now with Ferreira, and he drives long towards half forward. There's a bit of wrestling there, and the ball comes over the back where O'Brien's first to the ball, and received a nudge in the back from Shannon Rioli. And Morris Rioli it was, and take the free kick. Chips inside to Bowden, who switches again across to this grandstand side and finds Holman in the left back pocket for Southern Districts at the airport end. He kicks down the line here. It's a one-on-one contest, Brodie Lake and Jake Long. Lake made his way to the front, and but Long persisted. He got tackled, got his foot to the ball, and Brodie Lake's back in there again. Gets a hand pass across, and Dingo eventually, and the hand ball lands in the hands of Rusker, who drives long on the left foot. Davies cutting across for St Mary's takes a good intercept mark.
It's definitely his strength. They need more of that from Tommy Davies. A good matchup with him and Barnett. He needs to take more of those marks in the air.
He looked inboard and went short to Sean Edwards. Edwards plays on now, drives long towards half forward. All over the back, chance for Salmon off the ground. Got a bit of a torp on that one, and it's just skidded through inside the behind post for a point to St Mary's. O'Brien got back there quickly for Southern Districts. He'll take the kick in, goes short, misses the target there. Waring should still be first to the ball. Paddles it around and then taps it away looking for a teammate. But there's some Saints players in there to put pressure on. Eventually, hand passes missed there by Slater. Kick around the corner from Hodges, but it's going to fall on Lake taps on, and that was effective in the end, and the kick comes out wide, and Barlow takes the mark for Districts uncontested. Chips in short, and strong mark overhead by Jeffrey Garlett under plenty of pressure.
Great mark.
He's coming alive, isn't he? It's taken him a few rounds, but plenty of, probably the most touches I reckon he's had today compared to his last few games.
Kicks inside the centre square, and taking the ball there nicely was Jaden Watts, and got his kick forward. Found Matty Cannard, who chips inside forward 50. Willie Farrer on the end of this one, takes cleanly, hand passes to Barlow running through, hooks around the corner towards goal, but that's missing everything on the near side. So some good work by Barlow there. He was involved deep back here in defence, and was on the end of it as the ball went into half forward in the end, but his kick offline and bounced out of bounds.
We're in the box seat to see his running patterns here. It's very impressive to see him work the lanes he runs in and the way he gets to the next contest. Something for the young guys to definitely sit back and watch and learn.
So boundary throw-in fell short again, but eventually it's Barlow again for Districts. He kicks across the face of goal into the corridor, and Saints under some pressure back there. Tackled as he took the ball there was Parry. Eventually the ball spills out towards the back pocket, where Jake Long gets a high kick out towards half back, and Districts the chance to bring the ball forward again. Kick comes in right into the goal square. Anthony Long at the end of that, but bounced out of bounds again. So yeah, Districts just had the wall set up really out across half back, and there was a hack kick out, so no real direction in it, and they mopped it up pretty easily to get back in. But
skill execution from both sides there, letting them down. Very, very scrappy passage of play.
So the throw now, Williams in front, almost takes it in his hands, but Ferreira gets the kick for St Mary's out of defence. Comes outside of the defensive 50 arc by about 10 metres before it goes out of bounds once again.
It's interesting, in the first 10 minutes of this quarter, we've seen both sides really take the game on, score really easily. In the last couple of minutes, the game's really just gone back into a bit of a slog, hasn't it?
So that boundary throw comes over the back. Pemberton kicks it forward off the ground, and it's a foot race here. It was Schofield who hacked it forward off the boot. Williams was there, but he was tackled as he, Davies it was, tackled as he kicked, and the mark's taken there by the first gamer, Jaden Watts, at half forward. He chips directly sideways and finds Lionel Ogden just at the point of the centre square. He goes wide again and hits up Staunton out there, who goes wider again towards the boundary line, and the mark's taken out there by Willie Farrer, is it?
Yeah, well done, Districts. They were just patient. They just chipped the ball around. They found someone inside 50, but just really poor checking from St Mary's. There's guys walking through the middle of the ground, just could have pressed out, put the pressure on, but just elected not to and sat back. And now Willie Farrer, he's probably a chance from here. Stewie's a nice kick for goal.
Oh, well, didn't back himself, though.
No, but he's chipped inside to Schofield, who's on a much better angle, probably a fraction further out, if anything. But yeah, in that build-up, it was almost like basketball, Hodgie, playing around the top of the key, but Saints just let him do it.
Very, very patient. I think Schofield's a very good player. We've seen him a few games. He's been very, very impressive.
He's kicking from right on 50 towards goal. It's going to go right to the goal line, and Braxton Armat got right back there in defence for St Mary's, got his hands to the ball, but spilled it over the line for behind.
As any good ruckman does, Stewie, they get back on the line?
You would hope they would. That's their role. So come to Davies, short to Yaron, called to play on. Davies goes short again, and Payne couldn't hold on to that mark, reaching for it over his head. Damien Williams came in and forced it out of bounds.
Bit of confidence gone out of the St Mary's players. They're looking for those short kicks again.
I was just thinking exactly that, Hodgie, that rather than those big down-the-line kicks, they're back to these little fiddly kicks, and then it's not paying off.
Really throw that up.
I think so.
We saw that a couple of minutes ago. There was a short boundary throw, and then there was a long one. The ball went out the back. So players are going to prepare for that and make sure they're ready.
It's pretty hard when the two ruckmen are the only ones allowed to touch the ball when there's inconsistency in the throw-ins. But anyway, the restart's the right thing to do. Williams gets there first. Ferreira tried to tap it forward, but Josiah Farrer on the right foot this time chips inside 50 and finds Dean Staunton. And Dean Staunton, pretty powerful kick for a small player. He'll go back, and the distance shouldn't be a problem here for him.
Very smart, Josiah Farrow. Obviously lowered his eyes and hit his little mate up in the forward 50. Josiah Farrow's had a fantastic game, a lot of highlights, but the one thing he'll be telling all his mates in the next couple of days is that right foot kick inside 50, being a left footer.
So Staunton kicks towards goal now. Looks like it's pretty good. It's inside that right-hand goal post. And that's after about 10 minutes. It's 4 in a row for Southern Districts after Saints opened the quarter with 3 of their own.
They've generated a few opportunities, shots on goal, just at stoppages on that half forward flank where the ball's managed to pop out the back, and St Mary's just haven't shut it down. Like the winger on the far side or whoever it may is needs to come in and shut off that to make sure that they don't get that outlet at the back of a stoppage. They've done it a few times now and created scoring opportunities and took little midfielder to kick the goal and done a great job.
And then when Saints have been coming out of defence, it's just been hacking the ball out, really no system coming out, and so they haven't been able to get the ball into their forward half for quite a while now. Williams over the top again, beautiful tap down to Little, who drives Districts forward again, punch from behind by Davies, and the ball hits the ground. Anthony Long over the top of it. Davies hand passes over the top of his head. Jacob Long kicks off the ground, but Districts will have the opportunity to get there first. Staunton couldn't take the ball cleanly, but it's picked up now and driven forward again, and we'll have a marking contest at half back. Well, it wasn't a contest in the end. Liam Daly took it in front of the pack on the chest. Chips in short, looking for Payne, bounces in front of him, but up into his hands, no problem. And he's got time to drive down the wing, looking for Jacob Long over the top of Staunton. It's punched away out of bounds again.
A few moments before you saw young Jacob Long kick the ball off the ground out far out wide, and he was 3-on-1 with Districts players. Obviously they're working so much harder at the moment, and it's what the scoreboard is reflecting, and the momentum is going Districts' way because they are working that little bit harder.
Matt and Williams again. Williams reaching over the top. Watts overran the ball, but he's in for another chance now. Picks up and kicks forward, but Ferreira will chop this one off for St Mary's. He chips sideways now, looking for Tom Davies, who's got some space at half back, and he kicks wider again where Morris Rioli's got about 30 metres on his opponent, but he's got to get to the ball yet. Fumbles when he does, or he's under pressure from 2 players now. Got a hand pass out, but good enough to regather and drive the ball forward to his mate Hodges, who drops the ball off the chest. And Districts a chance to butter up Brady Lake. Good hand pass inside to Bowden. And Bowden chips forward where there's plenty of Districts numbers. Waring plays on straight away. He's under some pressure, but found space with Ogden. Hand passes over the top to Williams. Williams looking to break a couple of tackles, and his hand pass eventually put his teammate under pressure. Morris Rioli trying some magic again in under the pack, but no one could take it cleanly. In hard goes Jake Long, and down low was Barnett, but umpire says that's illegal, catching Long on the legs, and Long will take the free kick.
Wow, bit of excitement back into the game, isn't there?
A few players trying the Morris Rioli. I think they should just leave the tricks to Morris Rioli from now on.
Jake Long down the line. Hodges over the top with the fist. Leroy Larson punches it forward. So too does Payne. Now it's the opportunity for Sean Edwards for St Mary's. Kicks Long towards the goal from outside 50. It's going to bounce through. Almost bounced on the goal line. A really good finish there from Sean Edwards. That's his second for the quarter, and both in similar circumstances, and one that Saints really needed after Districts had kicked 4 in a row before that.
Difference there for St Mary's is that they just got the ball longer, didn't they? They didn't mess around. They kicked to a contest, create a contest, get numbers to the contest, and obviously Sean Edwards, smart player out the back, and such a good finisher. He's so dangerous 4 to 50, isn't he?
A great decision by Edwards. There was no one up front there, and he just had to run on, and I think he bounced it right in the square there and sent it through. And It was messy. There was not a lot clean about that passage of play there, but now put St Mary's just 2 points behind.
He had two teammates running to receive there. If you're a coach, you'd want them to run and protect rather than trying to receive, but good finish.
And in the end, Shannon Rioli watched the ball go over the line. He was going to be the first there anyway. So Districts with the chance. Staunton gets the clearance, kicks forward towards half forward. Ball spills out, hacked off the ground there. And into space. We've got a bit of a foot race here. Davies was jogging towards the ball.
It's funny.
Was pushed in the
Some
back
of the free
there,
kicks
but-
we've had pulled out, and that one goes. It's unbelievable. That's been a really good contest, those two guys. Obviously, Tommy Davies has changed his position on him, played in front. Barnett's quite quick on the lead, but if it's in the air, one-on-one, both boys jumping at the ball, it's been a really good contest to watch.
Over the back, Pierce Little first to the ball. Couldn't take cleanly. Hand pass comes out wide. Now, chance for Garlett to drop the ball as he avoided the tackle. Hand pass comes into the kick comes into the goal square. Willie Farah doing battle there. It's scooped off the ground in the goal square. Umpire says that's okay, and will be a rush behind for Southern Districts.
Again, forward stoppage. Districts exiting the back of the stoppage. St Mary's just not doing enough to shut that down. It's been very dangerous for Southern Districts, and it's creating plenty of opportunities for them.
So there it is. It is half-time here at TIO Stadium with St Mary's 5-3-33, just trailing behind Southern Districts 5-6-36. We'll be back with the second half right after this.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Absolutely zero.
Zero.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be zero.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's asking too much.
kilonewton centrifugal force, infrared remote control.
How does he do it?
24.5 kilowatt diesel motor.
He doesn't just know how to operate every piece of Kennard's high gear we get in, but also its service details, its safety checks.
I don't know. It's as if he can hypnotise each piece.
Give me 2 passes with sauce. Coffee white with 1, bun with icing. No, pink icing.
Yep, no worries, Terry.
Time to escape, cause I'm in need of warmer weather. Sail upon the stream to find there's someplace better. And I'm going far and wide. Ooh.
Great Northern Brewing Co., the beer from up here.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more! Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
Looking for the best and brightest to join your team? At Quality People, we specialise in finding quality, hard-to-get professionals, and we have an office right here in Darwin. Kick your recruitment goals with Quality People. qualitypeople.com.au.
Now that's quality.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
On Territory roads, anything can happen, so you need to drive to the conditions. Speeding can get you into all sorts of trouble. Dirt roads aren't just dusty. When it's hard to see, they're dangerous. At water crossings, remember, you're driving a motor car, not a boat. High water can be deep trouble. All sorts of animals can be on the road, so watch out. And if the weather is bad, slow down, you mob. Drive to the conditions and arrive in good condition.
Choosing a health fund can be tricky. Some are too big, too small, or just not right at all. But with Territory Health Fund, you can make sure your cover is the right fit.
The NTFL clubs and umpires would like to share the following events and messages and thank their sponsors.
Getting my hands on the footy and just being with my mates.
I like being outdoors. It just makes me happy. I don't like it when I get yelled at.
It's pretty embarrassing when someone's shouting at you halfway through the game.
It makes me feel like I'm useless and I can't do anything.
We're just kids.
We're just here to have fun.
Let us do what we love.
Just let kids be kids.
You go home and get your standies, I'll go home and get my panties, and away we'll go. Oh, shuffle up the buffalo, shuffle up the buffalo.
For more information, please visit the relevant club or umpire's Facebook page.
Welcome back to TIO Stadium, where it's half-time. St Mary's 5-3-33, Southern Districts 5-6-36. Matt Hepworth, Andrew Hodges and Stu Davis in the commentary box this afternoon. And, Hodgie, we saw Saints come out real quick in that second quarter, 3 goals within about 3 minutes. And what really seemed to work for them is in that first quarter we saw really short passes that didn't really pay off. Big, long kicks, and they were able to get some goals from it. It'll be interesting to see what tactic they go with again this quarter.
Yeah, interesting half of footy. Both teams obviously have had some successes with that going long down the line and making sure they get the ball to space and score really quickly. And hopefully both coaches at half-time have given that instruction. Let's take the game on a little bit and make it a bit more exciting.
So we're underway again. Williams got the tap for Districts. Nick Yarran first to it on the ground. His jumper was being held as he was trying to pick up the ball, and the free kick goes against Dean Staunton. Yarran plays it on straight away, chips sideways to this grandstand side to Liam Daly. He drives long looking for Leroy Larson over the back. Almost a really good mark there.
I think, yeah, got it in the end.
I think had about 6 grabs at it at the end, but controlled it most of the way. And he's obviously an important player for in St Mary's forward line. We've got a free kick way down near the goal square by the looks of things.
Yeah, Payne just being held off the ball there, Stewie. Probably not much in it, but nonetheless, he gets the free kick, and Saints look to start the quarter off in the perfect way.
Like they did last quarter. But so Payne with the set shot, only about 15 metres on a 45-degree angle.
Umpire was right there in a really good position to see that one as well.
So Payne's kick at goal is on the narrow side. That's a pretty poor miss, really, for an experienced player like Payne.
He's played a lot of footy up here too in the NEFL for Redland, so he knows the ground really well. He's played quite a few NTFL games now, so should have nailed that one.
So Districts come out of defence. Ball hits the ground, and Damien Williams it is at the back of the pack, who picks up, plays on with a bounce. Ball slides out in front of him, but he managed to get the hand pass up to Staunton, who was tackled by Jake Long, and the ball spilled out, and Jake Long will be rewarded for that tackle.
He's been pretty good today, Stewie.
He has been, yeah. And important in the absence of some senior players for Saints. Kick comes inside 50 now for Saints. It's Wayrung back there for District. Shannon Rioli got on the end of it though. Kick towards goal. Oh, hit the goal post about half a metre up from the ground.
It's a bit of a worry for Saints when that quick kick forward to a contest in that forward line. They don't really have the tools. If Payne and Edwards aren't there, there's really no contest, is there? They really need it down low on the ground, and here's 50.
50-metre penalty here.
Yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22 for them though, because if they don't go long quickly, they look short, and they don't look like they're in the contest when they're trying to play that tactic. But
absolutely.
Anyway, Schofield for Districts drives down the ground, but that's a misdirected kick, and Braxton Armat chops it off pretty easily. Kicks towards the outer side where Morris Rioli gets on the end of it, takes the mark, looking to play on. Chips in short now, finds Shannon Rioli.
I'd seriously play double the gate fees to come and watch Morris Rioli play. He's a magician, isn't he?
Shannon's kick inside forward 50 now goes over the head there of Payne, but forced out of bounds in the forward pocket.
You touched on it before, being almost a bit Cyril-esque in the way, and even in that little play before there where he did a bit of a fake and then that beautiful little kick there. It's impressive to watch.
Well, he took the mark. He sort of rolled out of that contest like he was going to play on.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah.
He did. Very smart.
So boundary throw in at ground level now. Quinn in there for Districts, but the ball's wrapped up underneath 3 or 4 players, and we'll have a ball up.
Better signs for Saints around these contests. They're first at the footy like they were in the start of the last quarter, which is really what they need to maintain to do.
So ball comes forward for District. Shannon Rioli on the bottom of the pack got a hand pass out to Nick Yarran. He was tackled, ball spilled out. Staunton in defence drives Districts out. Ball comes over the back here of the one-on-one contest. Davies comes back to help out, but it's Willie Farrer who taps it forward. Kennard takes the ball cleanly. Good hands to Josiah Farrer, who's running through. He's run quite a way. The ball spilled out of his hands. He snaps around the corner when he regathered and kicks the goal. So he was obviously looking to give off to his brother, but the ball slipped out of his hands. but he was good enough to recover and snap round the corner for a goal.
He's a very, very good player. Matty Hepworth's got a massive man crush on Josiah Farrer. He's
I make no secret of that.
He's probably one of the Nichols medal favourites. He's had a really good first half of the season, and he was probably lucky here that he fumbled, Stu. Otherwise, he would have been pinned for running too far. But he was looking for that. He's kicked on his right a bit earlier in the game, but he's kicked one on his left here, and he's a left footer, but really, really classy finish and very, very important player for Districts. If they're going to kick on, they need him to really step up.
Only more impressive when he can link up with his brother as well. If he's out just outside of the forward and Will gets that big springing leap up that he does as well. Even more impressive then.
So we start again. Ruckman do contest. Williams got it down. Barlow, a quick kick. Nick Yarran running back with the path of the ball. Staunton absorbed the tackle, tried to hand pass out, but it's Cannard at the bottom of the pack who gets a hand pass forward. Now Yarran's back in there again. He's swamped by a couple of Districts players, and we'll have a ball up just outside the centre square towards Southern District's scoring end. Payne in there for Saints, but Rusker gets the hand pass out. Ferreira on the end of it for St Mary's, however. Hand pass to Yarran, who takes off, kicks short, looking for Salmon. We're through his hands, but he's recovered well, picks up, wheels inside and kicks towards centre half forward, out in space. Shannon Rioli looks like he's going to be first to this. Kicks around the corner, looking to Sean Edwards in the goal square over the top, but some good defensive work by Holman. Got his fist to the ball at the top of the goal square and punched it through for a behind.
Some really good individual efforts there. That kick from Salmon out in space for Shannon Rioli, and then Holman going back with the flight of the ball to kill it. Fantastic.
He drives down here, but Hodges chips in for St Mary's. He was collected high. The advantage won't be paid, so free kick will come back to Braith Hodges right on 50. Has he got the distance here, Hodgie?
No, he looked to pass it off.
Chips in short, looking for Sean Edwards out in front. Got his hands to the ball, but couldn't mark it. Recovers well, kicks along the ground here. Salmon on the end of it, but it's gone through his hands, and Districts the opportunity to clear it out, but ran over the boundary line, and we'll have a throw in again.
Love how you had to think about that before, Hodgie.
Yeah, I was just being diplomatic. I'll cop it later if I say something incorrect, so I'll just keep quiet on that one.
Keeping peace within the household.
Ball comes to ground here now, and Districts with the opportunity to bring it out, but a dribble kick forward trickles out of bounds, and Districts cleared it around the boundary line, probably about 30 metres, but we're still inside forward 50 for St Mary's at the Michael Long Centre end of the ground.
How impressive is Maurice Rioli's closing speed to put pressure on his opponents?
Love
it's amazing.
Leroy Larson in front gets a beautiful tap down to Quinn, who hooks around the corner to the top of the goal square. Sean Edwards caught in between two Districts players, got his fist to the ball, and it's trickled over and hit the behind post, so another boundary throw in. Ball's camped inside Saints forward 50 at the moment. They just haven't been able to capitalise on it. So ball on the ground over the back. Hand pass came out where Bowden on the right foot kicks down the line, and Ogden hacks it out of the air, but it's straight to Anthony Long. Fumbles the ball there and gives the Districts the opportunity through Josiah Farrer, who toe poked it. Willie Little was tapped it forward into the path of Dean Staunton. Fell on his foot, but Jacob Long avoided the contact there pretty wisely, I think, in the end, and went back to have another go. But it's trickled out of bounds now. Pierce Little was coming in pretty hard then, Hodgie.
That was a steam train. He would have near killed him if he if Jake didn't pull up. But very smart. He made sure he stayed in contact with the ball and just got the ball forward. Probably in a good spot for St Mary's here.
So the ruck contest, Armat with his left hand to the ball goes forward. Ferreira on the end of it kicks forward now, but Ogden running back takes the mark on the chest for Districts. He switches the ball into the centre of the ground, and that's Joseph Salmon who's infringed inside the protected area there, and a 50-metre penalty again. So Ogden, who loves a goal, with an opportunity now to kick from about 50 metres out.
He set himself really well up at that contest. I was watching him before the contest. He's very, very smart. He sat off his player. He knew the distance from the contest where a quick kick may go to, and he just put himself right in the spot, and really good intercept mark. He probably let his opponent, a little bit less experienced, the St Mary's player in Riley Miller, got too close to the contest.
So Ogden will kick from just inside 50
Approach is now got plenty of purchase on the ball, but out to the right-hand side and a behind only. So we're almost 10 minutes in, only the one goal for the quarter, the one from Josiah Farrer with a bit of magic earlier in the quarter.
It's hard to see any team really breaking away to take this at the moment.
Jake Long brings it in for Saints, looking here for Payne. He marks on the second grab in front of Ogden at half-back.
Smart use of the body.
Kicks slightly off the side of the boot, goes towards the centre square, but Shannon Rioli with some good body work against Barlow got himself in the best position and took the mark on the chest. But no continuity here. He chips in short again to Payne, and Southern Districts are pretty well set up behind the ball now. Payne goes long again down the line, but Districts have got plenty of numbers there, and in front the mark's taken by Innes. He chips straight across the ground, finds Bowden there, who goes sideways again to Holman. Holman hand passes inside to Barlow. Barlow straight up the middle now. O'Brien reaching over his head, couldn't take it one-handed, but pretty untidy there by Anthony Long. Caught him high as he fell to the ground. And it's O'Brien who'll take the free kick for Districts. Waste no time, goes out wide, and the mark out there taken by Jaden Clark in front of Leonard Ferreira.
This is a really good lead from Clark there. He came up and then doubled back and then sort of spat out the side there. Pretty smart. Obviously O'Brien pretty lucky to get the free kick. Obviously he was taken high, but he fumbled the ball and probably lucky he drew the free kick, and obviously they get a shot on goal.
So Jaden Clark for Districts kicks now, and looks like that's drifting across the face and sneaks in for a behind only. So still only the one goal for the quarter.
Missed the last two Districts, and in a low-scoring game, that could be the margin they really needed at the moment.
So Jake Long for Saints plays on straight away from the goal square. Kicks wide here, but he hasn't got much there except for Quinn. But the ball beats him and Ogden out of bounds.
100%, Stewie. He played on there looking for something long. All his teammates were set up pretty ready for a kick in from the square, so he didn't really have anything to go to, had to kick the space. Not a bad result in the end.
So ball comes over the back. Hand pass in there by Daly. Shannon Rioli's at the bottom of the pack, got the hand pass out. Kick comes forward and Ogden.
Read well by Ogden there.
Makes his way to the front in front of Yaron and takes the mark. Kicks across the face of goal. His teammates under some pressure there, but Bowden helps him out. Wilkinson, some good work. If he could have picked it up cleanly, Saints were away, but he couldn't. Got it in the end to Morris Rioli on the right foot. Kicks in front of Joseph Salmon, who's got the opportunity in front of Wairung. He picks up, runs past him, past another player, backs around, eventually gets his foot to the ball and kicks the goal. He had a couple of players in support, but couldn't really get the ball to them, but kept his head and has the shot on goal, which after a conference between the field umpire and the goal umpire has been confirmed as a goal. So some good work, and kept his head in the end, Salmon, I think, is the best you could say. But
I think he probably increased the degree of difficulty on this one. He probably could have just banged it early on, but why do it easy? Just make it a bit harder. And he's had a really impressive season, young Salmon. Crossed over from Wanderers, and he's really held his spot right throughout most of the season. He's been very, very impressive.
Yeah, well, of course, under the point system, he's a four-pointer, which makes it even harder for him. But his form has been such that they just can't leave him out, Hodgie.
Very good track athlete as well, Stewie.
Leroy Larson in ruck for Districts now. Cannard on the end of this one for Districts, drives it forward. Anthony Long gets the fist over the top. Staunton comes in with good hands to Barlow. His kick's touched off the boot, thumped out by Miller. Shannon Rioli kicks off the ground, and it squirts into the centre square where Josiah Farrer tidies up for Districts. Hand pass across to Bowden. He chips inside forward 50, but Tom Davies is there. He played on straight away to Anthony Long, to Jake Long. Jake Long bangs it high, back at his short. Edwards high, but didn't get his hands to the ball. But the mark was taken by his teammate Payne.
Wow.
And Saints moved the ball quickly forward. Salmon on the end of that, couldn't quite keep it in. And we're out of bounds between wing and half forward for St Mary's, but some exciting stuff there.
It was. Was that a marking infringement? Should the free kick gone the other way? I'm not an umpire, obviously, Stewie, but
well, it looked
didn't allow the Districts player to jump at the footy, did he?
Tell you who was an umpire, Joseph Salmon.
He was, actually, yeah.
So, anyway, out of that, we've got a free kick to Josiah Farah, just backward of wing for Southern Districts, who drives the ball inside the centre square towards half forward. Davies again across there, didn't take possession of the ball and was wrapped up by, it wasn't Davies, it was Daly in fact, and he wins a free kick for being held. Chips in short to Jake Long in front of Lake, plays on now with a hand pass over the top to Davies. Davies hand passes forward to Box. Box is being run down here by Lake, but got his kick away over the back. Dingo couldn't take the mark, ball falls in front of him. Now Morris Rioli gets the crumbs, kicks forward towards the goal square, over the back. Wairung had a couple of grabs, it couldn't take the mark. The ball's come to ground. Saints look like they're a chance here, but the ball's still on the ground, bobbling around. No one can take it cleanly. Eventually it comes into the hands of Salmon on the left foot, has a shot at goal, and he's kicked another one. It was looked like an awkward right-hand drop onto the left foot and straight through the middle from about 10 metres out. So he was involved in the contest down here on the wing and worked hard to get up into the goal square, Hodgie.
He's an elite runner. Like I said before, he's a very, very good track athlete. I think he holds some records on the track for some long distance, but outstanding effort. The Southern District defenders just couldn't clear the footy, and again, true Joseph Salmon style, he's made something look quite difficult. That was actually quite easy. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, there was plenty of pressure there, and he took the ball cleanly to get himself in the position. So
good little patch of footy from him in this quarter. He's been outstanding, and Shannon Rioli stepped up a little bit, and Jake Long has done a fair bit around these stoppages as well.
So Saints with the last 2 goals sees them nudge in front in this contest. Unbelievably, really, Districts seem to have the cards, but couldn't get the score on the board. Shannon Rioli flicked that one up and was trying to argue his case, but not much point, Shannon. And it'll be a free kick to Southern Districts. Looks like Cannard will be the recipient of the free kick. Rusker on the lead down here. He ignores that, goes longer down the line, and that's pretty easy for the Saints defenders to force over the boundary line for a throw-in.
William Daly would love those kicks inside 50. Like I said earlier on, he's just a battler. He just punches the footy, gets it going forward. He's been a good player for Saints.
Matt taps it in front of Jake Long, who's tackled but got his kick to the ball. Josiah Farah on the end of it though, swings around on that left foot towards goal. Looks like it's pretty good. And it's through again for another goal for Districts, and regains the lead for them. It wasn't the best looking off the foot, but was never offline, and Josiah Farah bringing some energy to the forward line now when he's resting down there, Hodgie.
Yeah, he's kicked a few now. What's he kicked?
3.
He's kicked 3, so he's been dangerous. He's been outstanding through the midfield, and when he goes forward, you know, a midfielder that hits the scoreboard is very, very dangerous, and it was an absolute floater, but nonetheless, it's still 6 points, isn't it, Stu? So Districts really desperately needed that because St Mary's had the momentum going their way, and every time St Mary's seemed to get 2 or 3 in a row, pops Josiah Farah and kicks one for the Crocs.
It's true, and I see that he's starting now out across half forward. He was starting in the goal square earlier, so he's spent a fair bit of time forward this quarter. Got a whistle on the play again, and Sean Edwards for Saints will get the free kick this time in the centre. He plays on now, drives long down the middle, looking there for Payne on the end of it. Strong mark, not paid.
I thought he held on to that.
And most players seem to stop, but it's Districts who bring the ball out on the outer side. O'Brien has a running player in Barlow. Hand passes almost backwards out to Rusker on the outer wing. He kicks forward on the left foot now and hits Barnett out in front of Davies.
I think Barlow saw Morris Rioli chasing him, knew his capabilities and just handballed.
Kick comes into Staunton, who marks, plays on straight away, kicks towards goal, but that's gone across the face. 4 behind once again for Southern Districts.
Interesting, they've got to take those opportunities, don't they, Districts? Especially the other end, it looked like a clear mark to Payne. It could have been a shot on goal for St Mary's, nonetheless.
The transition was quick and they had the opportunity.
Got to nail it.
So it's Ferreira now. He runs out of the goal square, looks to take on his opponent. He's run a fair way, but that's fair enough. He kicked in short to Armat at centre half back. And Armat now looked to come to the grandstand side, but changed his mind and went out wide to Riley Miller on the outer side. He chips back inside the corridor now, back to Armat.
Here we go, they're going short again. We know they haven't played their best footy, yeah.
Sean Edwards is in some space out here for the switch though, and he just strolls off really. And now kicks down the line looking for Jake Long. Damien Williams over the top with a double fister. Sees the ball out of bounds. And yeah, so they probably needed to move the ball a bit more quickly to have an opportunity.
That kick had to go to grass. Yeah. He had separation on his opponent. Did Jake Long, and Shawnee Edwards has been outstanding today, but that kick just had to go to grass to give him every opportunity.
Damien Williams gets his foot to the ball in the ruck contest this time, and then recovers and kicks forward again, sitting underneath. This one is Liam Daly, takes a safe mark on the chest for St Mary's in front of Barnett. So Daly kicks long down the line again. There's plenty of Districts players in around this ball. Hand pass comes back out the back to Barlow. He kicks off balance about 15 metres forward, and Sean Edwards reaching over the top, got his fist to the ball and out of bounds.
Impressive O'Brien there. He knew what was coming, the pressure, and he just sat under it and knew he had to go, and he did. So good contest from both players there.
Boundary throw in again. No one really got a clean hit out there. Leroy Larson was first to the ball, slipped over as he tried to run off from the pack. On the ground, Barlow got a hand pass up, but his teammate was immediately tackled. Braith Hodges got a foot to the ball, put Saints forward, and Baxter Slater had his kick smothered and out of bounds again, just forward of the centre wing for St Mary's. So plenty of heat around the ball. There's no easy possessions around the contest, that's for sure. Williams works his way to the front, gets the hit out. Josiah Farah got a hand pass to Barlow. Barlow looking to give off, but there's no one there. Ducks back this towards the grandstand and kicks now. Brodie Lake out in front of box, takes the ball cleanly. Looked to hand pass to Williams, who was coming to Shepherd, I think. And the ball went past them all, and Nick Yarran tied it up for Saints and drilled the pass to Shannon Rioli along the wing. Shannon Rioli looking inboard now, but now kicks towards the pocket where Payne's found some space. And he marks just inside 50, about 10 metres inside the boundary line towards the Michael Long centre end of TIO Stadium.
He's a booming kick. He's a really good chance here, but just a bit of miscommunication between Lake, and Lake did a fantastic job to get to the footy, but probably just needed to kick the ball, get it down and forward.
Payne's kicks drifting across the face of goal, and in the marking contest there, it's Sean Edwards, is it? On the end of that.
No, it's is it Jordan? Jordan?
Oh yeah, it is too, sorry. And Jordan won the 50-metre penalty after it, and strolled in and kicked the goal with no one standing the mark.
A 50-metre penalty with about 15 metres to move.
Probably, I reckon Coach Shannon Ruska's blood would be boiling in the box that ball wasn't killed. Obviously late in this quarter, late goal to St Mary's is exactly what Districts didn't need. Late in the quarter, because the game's on the line here. Boys, whoever's going to take it by the scruff of the neck, someone's got to stand up and really take the game on, which we haven't really seen too much of that other than Josiah Farah at times, but someone's got to stand up and really get this ball going their way for their team.
Southern Districts last week, I think, Stu, was at 5-1 fourth quarter up against the Buffaloes, so they broke away last week. And speak about Coach Shannon Ruska, he gave them an absolute spray at three-quarter time up against the Buffs, so if he can do that again today, they might just come out with enough to take the win.
So Shannon Rioli on the bottom of the pack inside the centre square there, worked it forward, but now it's come out the back, and the crowd called the throw. The umpire at half-back here agreed. And it's a Southern District, it's St Mary's free kick to Jacob Long. He kicks in short, looking for James Box at the centre. Mark's not paid, not a required distance. His kick's half smothered. Dingo takes the ball and fends off and then plays on straight away down the middle. And the siren prevents any further action. So we've got a game on our hands, gentlemen, at three-quarter time. It's St Mary's 8-6-54, leading Southern Districts 7-9-51.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet, and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
So we can feel forever, yeah, feel together, real, together. No one can stop. No one can stop. Nothing could ever bring me down.
Mother Nature can be frighteningly predictable in the Territory this time of year. Heavy rains and damaging winds can cause significant problems and disruption, particularly if you're unprepared, while downed power lines and flash flooding can be lethal. To ensure you're ready, visit powerwater.com.au/safety or text SAFETY to 0428 323 991 for more information. Because staying safe and ready around Mother Nature should be second nature.
CFS Schoolwear is the perfect choice for quality custom-made school uniforms. Ideal clothing for all school-related activities, whether it's 50 or 500 students, we have what you need. Contact the Cricket and Football Shop NT for your free CFS Schoolwear quote today.
Let's see. Roma, Verona?
Perhaps Barcelona.
Make your dream holiday a reality. Book your next getaway at Flight Centre with interest-free holidays and flexible repayment options.
Best in the air.
And everywhere.
Flight Centre.
Intersport, new concept store now open in Casuarina Square. Come in and check out a world-class shopping experience.
Dedicated sports zones.
Now stocking only the biggest brands in tennis, cricket, fitness from treadmills to benches, boxing, swimming, darts, pool and table tennis. For awesome service and advice,
come in and see it.
Still locally owned and operated, the all-new Intersport concept store.
Now open at Casuarina Square.
Boys, we've got a real big problem. It belongs to you, it belongs to me, it belongs to everybody. I'm talking about family violence. It's time we said no more to family violence, isn't it? Yeah. Think about it.
We've all got to say no more to family violence.
No more!
Family violence is a community problem and it needs a community response from all of us, and sport is a big part of that. But we can all do our bit by being more respectful to each other. Please make this year the year we say no more to family violence.
You are one of almost 140,000 people living in an area at risk of being affected by a cyclone this wet season. In your cyclone kit, you will need a battery-operated radio and torch with spare batteries, enough food and at least 10 litres of water per person to sustain you and your family for 72 hours or more. Remember, all important documentation such as passports, photos and insurance policies should be kept in a safe and waterproof place. Be prepared this wet season. Brought to you by TIO.
Three-quarter time here at TIO Stadium. St Mary's 8-6, 54, leading Southern District 7-9, 51. Interesting third quarter of footy, Hodgie, but the big question will be who's going to break away in the fourth quarter.
Game on. You can see both coaches pretty animated at that three-quarter time huddle. Stu and I were just talking about it, and I reckon they're just pleading for their players, just for one last effort, just get this early goal and get settled in and really take the game on. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting because both teams, it's been very ebbs and flows, hasn't it, Stu?
Yeah, it has been. You know, it's been 2 or 3 goals from one side and then the other. And I thought earlier in the game, Districts looked like they had the game under their control a bit. But every now and then, as you say, St Mary's bust out and get a couple of goals and get their nose in front as they are now. So we'll see where it goes from here. But an interesting contest. Damien Williams got his fist to the ball, follows up, tried to hack it out of the air. Payne in there picks up, he's tackled straight away, but umpire said he didn't take possession of the ball and was tackled without it. So
can't see any real big changes structurally for both sides. Jake Long's down back, but I think he went there halfway through that third quarter.
Payne kicks towards this grandstand side looking for Larson. Ball comes to ground now, and it's Jordan for St Mary's who breaks away. Kicks in deep in the forward line looking for Sean Edwards. Ball's over the back of his head. Salmon running onto it, but the ball bit him over the behind line. So first score of the final quarter is a behind to St Mary's. Dingo kicks in for Southern Districts to the outer side. And Schofield drives the ball along the wing. Ferreira, some good work from behind, tapped the ball in front of himself, but then fumbled it over the boundary line. So a boundary throw in.
He's been solid for Saints down back, hasn't he, young Ferreira? He hasn't been beaten too many occasions and just does his job, puts his head over the footy when he has to, and he's been good. First game back in the seniors for this year.
Yeah, and he's been matched up on Pierce Little, who's a bit of a hard nut, so not an easy matchup for a young fella. Davies at the back, controlling it for St Mary's, gets a hand pass forward and then butters up for a second go, receives back, kicks inside forward 50, but Keegan Dingo won the position there in front of Shannon Rioli and took the mark on the chest uncontested in the end. Kicks in short to Jaden Clark, who drives long towards the wing. Barlow from behind punches forward. Damien Williams gets a hand pass back. Staunton's smashed in the tackle as he tried to take the ball, and now Payne hand passes forward to Quinn for St Mary's. Drives in looking for Sean Edwards, but spills the mark. Ball was a bit too hot for him there. On the ground, Quinn's back in there again, gets a hand pass back looking for Shannon Rioli, but there's plenty of Districts players around him. He just looped the hand pass out to Morris Rioli, who kicks off the side of the boot and out of bounds in the right forward pocket. That was amazing by Shannon Rioli.
It was, and if Morris Rioli had someone hanging off him, he would have kicked that goal. He just had too much time and space. I think he enjoys being under more pressure to kick those ones.
So we've got a throw in deep in St Mary's forward line. Leroy Larson doing the ruck work, but beaten in the contest by Holman. Comes out here now and driven forward for Districts over the back of the pack. Pemberton's first onto the ball, couldn't take it cleanly. Now Josiah Farrow has the running, some solid body work off the ball there between Anthony Long and Pierce Little. All legitimate, and the ball's out of bounds for a boundary throw in.
Two tough guys jump straight back up, straight back into the contest, but Josiah Farrow again looking really dangerous when he's running to that left side of his body, isn't he?
So the ruck contest now. Cannard this time wins the hit out. Josiah Farrow's in there again. The ball's in front of him. He couldn't take it cleanly. Jacob Long cuts across, kicks off the ground twice and gets the ball out in some space on the outer wing. Jacob Long again following up. Gets a toe poke to the ball, kicks forward again, now takes possession of the ball pretty cleverly with one hand, chips back inside to Rhett Jordan, and Jordan drives Saints forward, deep inside forward 50. Sean Edwards on the end of it, on the bounce, picks up, takes a bounce, hooks around on the right foot towards goal. Leroy Larson's there, watches it go over his head, and it's a third goal for Sean Edwards, and he's pretty excited about it, and trying to get his teammates to react as he jogs off the ground, but a pretty good solo effort by Edwards forward there.
Two solo efforts there, Stu. Obviously Edwards finishing it, but Jacob Long early on didn't want to pick the ball up, and a bit of a soccer career ahead of him potentially. But very smart, just put the ball out into space. Shannon Rioli helped him out on the far side, got the right bounce, but just what a great finish from a quality player in Sean Edwards. He loves playing, coming back playing for his Saints, and he put one on the board there for him. Desperately needed.
So they stretch that lead out to 10 points now, and it's Districts who are under pressure. Innes and Armat, no one wins the tap. O'Brien takes it off the ground, drives it forward. Cannard's in front there. Picks up now on the second attempt. Hand pass across to Rusker, who dropped the ball when he was tackled. And Jake Long will take the free kick. Chips out wide to Nick Yarran at half-back for St Mary's. Yarran comes down the line, didn't get much purchase on that, and that's intercepted by Pierce Little on the wing here. Leroy Larson's a bit close, and hands in the air will make him disappear, he thinks, but seems to have worked. Drives long down the line now. Jake Long coming across, takes a really good intercepted mark there.
This has been a really, really good move from coach Anthony Valijo. He's had some really important contests, Jake Long. He's won that mark there, and the tackle just before. His leadership down there is going to be integral for them winning this game.
Yeah. So Long played on, eventually kicked down the line. Payne got his hands to the ball, didn't stick. Braith Hodges with the hand pass to Quinn. Quinn on the left hand to Shannon Rioli. Puts the afterburners on. Kicks across towards half forward. Out in front there of Rhett Jordan, who's tackled when he took possession of the ball. Holman, some good work, kicked off the ground. He's helped by Pemberton, but Pemberton under pressure there from box for Saints. Eventually comes away, takes a bounce, a bit slow, got run down, but got his foot to the ball. Staunton on there, the ball's bouncing around in the hands of players from both sides, and eventually it's worked over the boundary line.
Box, great chase in the end. He went to ground and it left Pemberton with all this space. Pemberton probably didn't realise that he was chasing, and good second effort from Box to keep the ball in the area for St Mary's. Districts just need to clear this stoppage. Their forwards are playing very deep here, a lot of gap between the stoppage and their forwards.
So Innes in front, got his hands to the ball, but Shannon Rioli took possession, drove forward. Wilkinson with the leap, almost took the mark, but it bounced, got his hand pass up. But Keegan Dingo tidying up for Districts across half-back, drives them towards the outer wing. Josiah Farrer didn't get his hands to the ball in the end, but recovered first, and now streaming forward towards half-forward, chips in short. And the mark's taken there by Clark, but he's smothered by Jake Long. But he's outnumbered pretty severely in there, working really hard to keep the ball in, and eventually the umpires pointed one way and then the other, I think. So
I think he earned that free kick, Jake Long. He looks a bit ginger here getting up, but he's had some outstanding individual efforts early in this quarter, really saved Saints on a couple of occasions, hasn't he, Stu?
Well, there was him against three on that occasion, and it looked like Districts were going to take the ball away pretty easily, but he just kept fighting for it under the pack. Ball on the ground, on the wing on the outer side now, and eventually comes out to Pierce Little, who drives Districts forward and finds Barnett on the lead outside 50.
First game of Jaden Watts on the ground there, get the ball to Pierce Little, very, very impressive.
Barnett long towards the top of the goal square. Over the back there, it's Parry who tapped the ball forward, but Ferreira again for St Mary's drives them out of defence. Morris Rioli on the end of this one, gets his toe in, gets it back to Shannon Rioli, who hand passes back to Morris. Why wouldn't you? He gets tackled there, but breaks the tackle. Dodges another one. Was almost got a hand pass, got a toe in towards his teammate, and Saints eventually get possession of the ball. Armat's hand pass missed the target. Shannon Rioli in there strongly on the ground. Now the ball's bouncing around on the ground, and Districts have the numbers. Keegan Dingo got the ball onto his foot somehow, but Bowden drives it out of defence for Southern Districts towards half forward. Jake Long in front again, this time under pressure from Pierce Little. Payne got the hand pass back. Hodges hand passes forward, but Staunton's on the end of that one for Districts, and he drives them forward, looking for Barnett in front of Davies on the just outside half forward for Southern Districts going forward. They
had an opportunity to clear that ball, St Mary's. They just had to kick down the line. The handball forward to someone laying on the ground is not going to help. So quick kick down, but impressive. Southern Districts have lifted their pressure here. St Mary's really no time and space with the footy when they've got it. Again, Long.
Oh, it's gone against Long this time for taking out the legs. Perhaps a bit unfortunate, but it's Barlow for Districts, who chips inside, fisted away by the Saints defenders. Oh, Daly in there thought he had a bit more time than he did, was tackled and taken off the ball so that he couldn't get his foot to it, and it's Barnett with the strong tackle rewarded. We'll have a shot on goal from about 30 out.
It hasn't been a high-scoring game. These opportunities here, Barnett's going to have to kick this. It's a dangerous margin for St Mary's, but it's one for Southern Districts. They kick this, it's game on, obviously.
It's already had one today.
Kicks on its way now. Goal umpire's making a bit of ground. In fact, it's gone right across the face of goal and no score at all, out of bounds on the full. So a bit of relief for St Mary's with that one.
Sun's come out now. It's been an overcast day all day, hasn't it, boys? And
it's the first time we've seen the sun in about 36 hours, I reckon, Hodgie.
Yeah, it'll be nice and hot out there. With some players looking very, very tired out there.
And the moisture in the ground will be pretty steamy, I reckon, right now. Nick Yarran to bring it in for Saints.
It's not bad sitting in the box, Stu.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Ball on the ground. Bowden toes it out to Barlow, who gets a hand pass over the top back towards Bowden. He hand passes forward, but it's all St Mary's there. Larson hand pass back to Davies, who got a torpedo forward. Oh, an unrealistic attempt there by Joseph Salmon. And it'll be a Southern Districts free kick to Rory O'Brien on the grandstand wing.
We've seen today Joseph Salmon doesn't do things easy, so it was probably realistic for him.
O'Brien chips in short and finds a team up there that play ons. The call must have been touched off the boot, but it comes out to Brodie Lake in the end. He kicks forward, deep inside forward 50, but Nick Yarran pretty easily takes that one on the chest, uncontested over the back of the pack. And he slows things down now for Saints. He brings the ball back to where it came from on this grandstand side. Leroy Larson in the contest there. Damien Williams in front claiming the mark, not paid. Bowden tidies up and drives Districts forward again. Ball comes to ground. Oh, a hand pass. Very fortunate for St Mary's there. The hand pass went straight to his opponent Barlow, but in the process, Anthony Long was tackled high and will take the free kick. He goes straight up the middle of the ground now, where he's got Rhett Jordan in some space. He wastes no time, goes long looking for Wilkinson, who's running back with the flight of the ball, got his fist to it. But O'Brien, working back for Southern Districts, gets the hand pass over the head to Holman. Holman hand passes out here to Lake, and Districts will clear out of defence now. Lake changes direction, switches across the ground looking for Wairung there. Jordan running with the flight of the ball, got his fist to it, and now Saints with the chance. Kick comes in, and Salmon in some space. Couldn't take the mark, but recovers well. Runs around the opponent, kicks towards goal, and hits the post. So he's kicked 3 goals today. That one was probably easier than the 3 he's kicked, and he's missed it.
He needed to do a little pirouette, and he probably would have kicked it. He did everything right then, and some really well done by Jordan out on the far side to kill that footy, to get the ball back inside for Saints. Looking very dangerous.
But it's Districts now bring the ball out of defence through Schofield with a couple of bounces. 3rd bounce now and a 4th as he's out on the wing. And driving towards inside 50. High leap there, but the ball comes over the back, and Districts with the opportunity. Barlow hand passes inside to Josiah Farah. Hooks around on the left foot, and no problem whatsoever. And amazingly, that's District's first goal of the quarter. It's 1 each now, and Josiah Farah has kicked his 4th.
He's been outstanding for Districts. He's really been the only forward. He's not even playing forward most of the time. He's through the midfield, but he's looked very, very dangerous. St Mary's mids and defenders just didn't transition back hard enough there. Left Anthony Long 2-on-1. Josiah Farah, when he gets the ball in his hands, he's going to kick it and have a shot at goal, isn't he?
On the other end of the field, we saw Joseph Salmon have a crack at goal before hit the post. Hodgie, earlier you were singing his praises as a bit of a star in athletics as well. A couple of years ago in 2017, won the for his age group, the Mitchell Street Mile, which for those viewers not familiar with Darwin, it's a run down the main street of Darwin, normally done around October or November, just over a mile long. So he's got a bit of pace about him, the boy Salmon.
So ball up here, Williams again for Districts. Worked really hard in the ruck there all day. Got a kick forward, but Jacob Long drives it forward. Marks spilled out there, but chip comes out to Barlow, who Marks hand passes quickly to Watts. Watts chips along the line down the wing to Ogden, and Ogden has a player out wide in Cannard in some space. He marks, kicks inside 50, but didn't find the target there, and it's box for St Mary's who'll relieve, but his kick only as far as Ogden again. He chips back inside to Barlow, who plays on now. He's going to be run down from behind, but he's got plenty of time, gets his kick forward, but doesn't hit the target there. And St Mary's, through Anthony Long, drive the ball straight down the middle, but Dingo's underneath this one, couldn't take the mark, but recovers well and gets a hand pass forward to Lake. Lake out to Wairung, streaming forward now and kicks deep inside forward 50. Off hands there, sitting underneath the ball was Nick Yarran, and umpire says he was tackled high and will get the free kick.
He just made sure the umpire seen it, didn't he? Threw his head back, drew the free kick.
Probably dropped his weight a bit through his knees as well before contact was made.
District's really got themselves back, the momentum going their way. It's been through their senior players, hasn't it? Stu Barlow's imposed himself. He's been quiet at first half of the quarter, but he's got his hands on the footy the last couple of minutes and it's made a big difference for Southern Districts. They need him desperately with the ball in his hands.
And Damien Williams has done the ruck work most of the day and still getting off the ground and getting his hand to the ball. Braith Hodges gets a kick forward off the ground. Shannon Rioli picks up, hand passes over his head. Box came in and took the ball cleanly. Got a hand pass where Hodges picked up, hand pass to Shannon Rioli. Rioli drives long towards forward 50, a wrestle down there. Ball spills over the back to Salmon, but couldn't pick the ball up cleanly, and it's out of bounds in front of Salmon and Bowden at half forward for St Mary's.
Some smart play by there. Braith Hodgie just took a moment, stopped, found his captain.
Yeah, knew the silk. Give it to the silky players who can use the ball really well. Interesting time of the game. 16 minutes gone in this quarter. Boys, almost next goal is going to have a massive impact on the result in this game.
So ball comes around. Shannon Rioli on the end of it has a snap for goal, and it just drifts across for a behind only. But game of inches, Hodgie. Salmon missed that goal before, hit the post, and Districts took it straight up the other end. So Saints would have had an almost 3-goal lead, and instead it's under a goal. So
it's interesting, both sides not giving each other an inch, are they? They're really spirited, bit of grind all day. They're not giving too much away. It's been a low-scoring game.
Dingo kicks towards the outer side, but Jacob Long comes in and marks in the contest over the top of Pemberton, and he's pretty confident that he's going to make the distance from about 50.
Big goal this
straight
one.
to the goal and walk back, and yeah, he's backing himself to do the job here for Saints.
He's a very good kick of the footy. And Jacob, those little skinny legs can kick the ball a long way, so...
Comes in now, gets a bit of momentum as he kicks towards goal. It looks like it's drifting across the face and through for a minor score. Is that a handy point, Hodgie?
It potentially might be.
Yeah, if you look at the score there now, that just gives them that 7-point buffer. So even if Southern Districts can get another one on the board, it's not quite enough to get them over the line at the moment.
So Districts bring the ball in.
Smart.
Damon Williams, really good body position there. Found the ball, and he's been an important player for them all day, and particularly in this last quarter. Kicked inside where Barnett couldn't take the ball. Davies right on his tail as he has been all day. Ball's toe poke forward now, and Josiah Farrow's in there again. Hand passes to Bowden, who drives down the line. Looks like that one will bounce out of bounds between the interchange gates for both teams. So line ball at the centre here.
Districts are going to have to do something really special. They got Barlow around the footy. They probably need Josiah Farrow just to run through this contest. See if he can get into clear ground, get it forward. Then they need a score pretty quickly. 18 minutes gone, not a high-scoring quarter. You wouldn't imagine being a long quarter, Stu.
No, Williams got a double fist to that one in the ruck contest and thumped it back to the boundary line and probably made 10 metres for Districts. So Anthony Long looks like he's got the job on Josiah Farrow at the moment, trying to keep him under wraps, which is a pretty big task. Williams took the ball out of the ruck contest. Box took it out of his hands, slapped it forward, and Anthony Long actually got on the end of that and kicked it forward. Now it's in space at the back of the pack. No one wants to go for it from the goal square. And it's District Schofield who was first back there, but he's tackled, falls into the hands of Sean Edwards, Sean Edwards, who couldn't pick the ball up cleanly, eventually tapped it in front of Morris Rioli, who kicked it off his shin in the end, I think.
Yeah, I'll take it back. I said I'd pay double to come and watch him play. I'd almost paid triple. I'd actually mortgage the house to come and watch him play a game of footy. He's very, very exciting. Nothing. You just see that pressure there. That was what turned the Districts really should have cleaned that footy. It was a good point you made, Stu. No one wanted to come out and take the footy, but just his speed. I reckon we're going to see him play a lot of footy over the next few years, and I don't reckon it's going to be here in the NTFL. I reckon it's going to be on the big stage watching him play. So important goal for St Mary's. Districts really need to get this next clearance. They've got Barlow in there with Staunton and Ogden, probably not their best four.
And Armat got his hand to the ball on the ground. Jake Long kicks the ball forward for St Mary's to half forward. Reaching over the top was Brody Lake. Recovered first and got a chip out wide to Barlow, who found some space. Barlow from half back kicks along the wing looking for Staunton. Staunton takes the mark, plays on straight away and kicks deep into the forward line for Districts. Oh, a huge leap by Willie Farrer, but couldn't take the mark, and Saints were on the ground and tidying up. Liam Daly now in the back pocket. Gets a hand pass over the top to Nick Yarran. He's under some pressure but runs away. Kicks down the line here. And Miller and Bowden. Miller kept his feet, did well, and ran back onto the ball. Now kicks forward with a bit of a wobbler. Shannon Rioli smartly over his head, but Schofield's back there. Payne comes in to put some pressure on him. Dingo gets a hand pass over the top to Holman. His kick's smothered. He taps the ball forward again. Ball comes through here to Innes, but it's Miller who picks up cleanly, hand passes inside with some good vision to Shannon Rioli. He kicks forward looking to Salmon, but he couldn't take the mark and kicked off the ground, and Michael Bowden now gets a toe poke to it. Wairung kicks Districts out of defence, and Ogden's on the end of this one at centre wing in front of Ferreira.
They've got to take the game.
Play on quickly, kicks straight up to centre half forward. Tom Davies lurking back, gets under this one. Couldn't take the mark, but the ball came to ground and Anthony Long picked up, kicked out wide. But it's O'Brien for Districts who drives them forward again out in front of Willie Farrer and close to the boundary line. The boundary umpire says he took it over the boundary line, in fact, and so we'll have a throw in. Clock doesn't stop in NTFL footy when the ball's out of bounds, so Districts will be hoping it comes in pretty quickly.
They need to do something really quickly here and kick a goal to give himself an opportunity.
Boundary throw in there, and they had no opportunity in the end, Hodgie, that Saints had enough of a lead. So at the end, it's Saints by 13 points, and they've really toughed it out pretty well in the end, haven't they?
Yeah, impressive win by them. I think we said there's 7 or 8 under 18 eligible players playing for St Mary's today. Districts on paper, very, very experienced side. Just when it mattered late in the game, they just couldn't score, and probably early in the game they had their opportunities, Stu, and if they had taken those opportunities, potentially the game would have turned out a bit different, but St Mary's have done a good job to get the win today.
Yeah, Shannon Rusker will be pretty disappointed with 2 losses first up after Christmas, and you know, really they put themselves under pressure for a top 3 spot now, and Saints will be really happy with that win. It really gives them a bit of a buffer over the sides fighting out for 3rd place.
Yeah, when we looked at the Saints on paper today, the first thing we observed was the amount of juniors that they had in the game there, but they all really stepped up, and they, I think credit to Shannon Rioli as well. He really led as a player on the field today as well, but as a captain as well, really helped direct them, put them in the right places at the right time, which led them to their victory.
Jake Long for me in that halfway through that 3rd quarter, him going down back, he some amazing contests early in that last quarter. Really made the difference in this game, so impressive performance.
Hodgie, just quickly, what about Maurice Rioli?
Oh, yeah, enough said. He's you know, probably not his greatest performance today, but he just does little bits of magic every now and again that keep everyone pretty excited. So yeah, he had a pretty good game and looked very dangerous for them up forward.
There it is, full time here at TIO Stadium. St Mary's 10-10-70 defeating Southern Districts 8-9-57.
We're here for when the heavens open. and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet, and we're here for the dry.